On everyone. What's next for Baker Mayfield? I mean, it doesn't appear that anybody wants to trade for Baker. And to be fair, the Browns' asking price at the moment is a bit high. They want a first round for Baker, and they know that Baker is essentially gone, that his day as the quarterback for the Browns is over. It wasn't a happy ending, it wasn't a mutual split. It was just a big mess, a big chaos. And now that Deshaun Watson is the quarterback for the Browns, it makes sense that teams are reluctant to give a first. Not just that, but all of the issues on and off the field that come with Baker Mayfield. I mean, we've seen kind of this track record with a Johnny Manziel, right? It's a quarterback that many compared Baker to, and sort of the personality, the lack of being an adult. I mean, the Browns themselves said that they wanted more of an adult in the role of quarterback, which is kind of interesting given that they traded for Deshaun Watson. I mean, without going into everything going on with him, that's probably not the best connection, when you say, hey, this is what we're looking for, and you go and get a quarterback like that. Not just that, but Deshaun Watson, I mean, he hasn't played in a year and a half, give or take. I mean, he only won 4 games the year prior. So he hasn't had this like impeccable track record of just winning. Now, granted, the Texans were the Texans at the time. They weren't a very flush team with talent, but nonetheless, I mean, he still, with the talent and the caliber in which people hold Watson to, you would imagine that he'd win more than 4 games. Now, is he an upgrade over Baker? Absolutely. Of course he is. But we don't know exactly what Watson we're going to get. We also don't know if he's going to receive a suspension, if the court casing will catch up to him and maybe he won't be able to play. There's a lot of what ifs when it comes to this deal. And I mean, it's one of the reasons why many people were shocked that they guaranteed his entire contract because this whole mess isn't behind Watson. He has many things to look forward to that is going to be off the field. And so the question is, do they keep Baker? Is that even an option? I don't see Baker and his ego allowing him to take a back seat to be a, sort of bench guy that comes in when Watson's out or if he gets suspended or along those lines. That would be a dream case scenario because Baker can at least win you some games. He won 11 games and was hanging in there with the Chiefs before he got hurt. And so maybe a full season of him being uninjured maybe could go a long way and really could put Baker back in the conversation. It's something that I think is at least worth the discussion, but I don't know. Ultimately, he's not a hot commodity. It's not somebody that many people want. And there's not a lot of teams that really would want him regardless, right? Most of the teams that needed a quarterback that are good all got their quarterback. And the teams that are left are like, Carolina, Seattle. And I don't see either of them wanting a quarterback of Baker Mayfield when they could just draft a quarterback and develop them under their system, so on and so forth. You don't have the headaches. You don't have the head case. Granted, there is always the mystery of, is that quarterback going to be legit? Is that quarterback going to be a quarterback that can, be your franchise guy, can lead you on a charge, lead you on a win, where Baker at least has a track record, at least has shown that he's capable of winning with the right pieces around him. So, I mean, possibly, but he's not the best locker room guy. He's not a natural born leader. He's not a guy that most teams would want in a locker room, especially with young players, especially when you're trying to rebuild and trying to reshape your franchise. Though, I don't know if it's your best case scenario. I think most likely his best option, honestly, is to just wait it out, take a back seat with the Browns, and wait for a team that ultimately will have their quarterback injured. I mean, it's just the way that it goes. We see it every year. Knock on wood, of course, none of us want to see a quarterback get injured. Nobody wants us to see any player get hurt for that matter. But it's just the nature of the game. It's what happens. It's almost unavoidable that some team is going to have a quarterback that's going to get hurt, and then they're desperate and may need to go and get a guy like Baker, and maybe then Cleveland is willing to make the deal, and the team is willing to give what they want. Now, I do think that asking price for Baker is definitely going to drop. I think that asking price is not going to be a first round pick in a month. I could see that being maybe a third or fourth round pick and them letting him go to a team for that case. But again, there's many unknowns, there's many what ifs. And I don't see Baker taking a role. Like a great example, Jameis Winston. He was another Baker Mayfield in many ways and had a lot of issues but was willing to take a back seat and accept going to an organization like the Saints, learning that organization, trying to potentially get back into the starting role. And look what happened. I mean, he was great in the games that he was in, and now they re-signed him, and he's very likely going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints again, all because he was willing to do what was necessary in order to grow, develop as a player, and, be a team guy. Show like, hey, I'm in it for the team. I may have been selfish in the past. I may have done things that weren't the best as far as like being an adult in this league, but I'm willing to change. I'm willing to learn. If Baker follows the same sort of track, I could easily see him developing into a starting role with some other team. Because even if he goes to a team like Carolina, I don't see them immediately giving him the starting role. He's going to have to compete with a Sam Darnold. And I mean, you can make an argument that they're roughly the same player. Sam Darnold's going to have another year under his belt. Maybe he gets the system better. He was a top prospect. Many people thought he was going to be the next guy, and he hasn't yet. But the mystery is still waiting to be developed with him. And so Baker, I don't know. I just think that he has the intangibles. He has the qualities that you want from a starting quarterback, but he is a bit undersized, and he is a guy that just has a lot of issues on and off the field. And if he can correct that, I really could see a team giving him a chance. I could see a team where he can step in and maybe be that guy for said team. The big thing is, will he do that? Would he be willing to accept a bench role and be a guy that learns the system and is willing to step in when necessary? If not, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Baker is out of the league in 2 or 3 years. If he's just not willing to play ball and he's not willing to be a team guy. We've seen it before. We've seen a lot of talented players, a lot of talented quarterbacks in the league end up being done and moved away because they weren't considered a team guy. They weren't considered a guy that a team could rely on in the clutch. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Baker was one of those guys that is out of the league in a couple years. If he's not willing to change, if he's not willing to show, I will do whatever's necessary to get to where I need to be in order to be that guy and prove that I am that guy. But I don't know. Again, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What is your opinion on Baker Mayfield? Do you think he's done in the league? Do you think that, no, like some team is going to give up something to get him? Some team is going to grab him? Do you think that, the Browns may even just keep him? Do you think the asking price will drop? Or do you think that, the best thing would be to wait, see what develops in the season, see what quarterback gets hurt, see what team maybe they thought they had their guy, but they don't have their guy now, and he ends up going. Say a team like, I don't know, say the 49ers, for example. They trade Jimmy Garoppolo, they bring in Trey Lance. Let's say Trey Lance isn't ready. Do they take a chance on a Baker Mayfield and maybe he can be the guy? I don't know. I definitely think that there's possibilities out there. Even the Colts with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, I think, is super underrated. I think he's going to have a great year, but is he going to be enough to really lead the Colts to a playoffs and win some games and maybe even a Super Bowl? I don't think so. Is Baker that guy too? I don't think so, but he's younger. He has more potential. I mean, you never know. This is the NFL. A lot changes in a split second, in a split moment. And I think that the doors and the options could open up at any point, at any moment. And I think if Baker's smart, he'll just kind of zip his lip, do what's necessary, ride it out, and see what develops. I do think ultimately some team is going to take a flyer on him. I think ultimately some team, whatever the circumstances are, will end up picking him up and trading for him. I definitely think it's very likely he's going to go somewhere else. It's just a matter of when rather than if, I think. But again, if he doesn't get himself together and he doesn't show, I'm that guy, I'm that team guy, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, we've seen so many players just be at the height of the league in 1 minute and then the next that's it. They're gone. They're done. And that could be the case. I think it's just going to come down to Baker and what he's willing to accept, what he's willing to do, what he's willing to sacrifice. I definitely think he can play. I'm not saying anything about his talents. He's definitely a talented guy. I think he's definitely a guy that can put some wins on the board. But winning games isn't the same as being a franchise quarterback. There's lots of quarterbacks that haven't been great in this league that have won some games. There have been quarterbacks that haven't been great that have gone to some Super Bowls. So it's more than just that. You need to be everything. You need to be the locker room guy. You need to be the guy that can lead the charge, lead the team, be the example, and be that team guy. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts either way, your opinions, whatever the case may be on what will happen with Baker. Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.